peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. The day is the 18th of August 2020, and the show is The People's Court. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and we're coming to you all the way from Kenya's capital here in Nairobi. A bright and sunny morning here. It has been a bit chilly for the past few days, but today woke up to a lovely day. I trust that you're well, wherever you're tuned in today. And Dr. Matsanga shall be joining me in a bit, but before he comes, I have Karen Josephs from Malindi. Karen, good morning.
Well, good morning, Miriam at the studio. Good morning, Wesonga, and good morning, Dr. Matsanga in advance, together with Professor, all in advance. And thank you for having me on the show today. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. And also we have Daniel Wesonga, our correspondent from Kenya CBD. Daniel, good morning.
Very good morning, Miriam. Good to Karen Joseph and Professor Jared Onyari, and of course our viewers here in Kenya, Africa, and the world at large. Good morning.
All right, very well. And also we are joined by Professor Jared Onyari. Professor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Miriam, Daniel, and Wesonga, and our fellow viewers.
All right. So as I said there earlier, Doctor shall be joining us in a few before he comes for us to take on the topic of the day. That is the world right now. Is it on crossroads due to COVID-19? We have been plunged into challenges, and now we're chartering new roads that nobody has been there before. So we're just trying to cope with the COVID-19 and what it has brought with it. Before we look at that, let's just turn our attention to before we do the newspapers, perhaps to bring us up to date with the figures this morning as it stands on COVID-19. Kenya right now has recorded a total of 30,886 cases. The death toll is 11,982, and recovery is also still is at a high with 477,671 people are recovering. And then the total cases in Africa this morning is 1,101,097, and the number of deaths in the continent is 28,175, and recoveries in Africa so far is 789,046. And before we just get into the headlines, I know yesterday perhaps you were able to watch the CS for health there. He had appeared on that committee in Parliament being grilled over what is happening in terms of how the Ministry of Health has been managing COVID-19, especially those fans. Professor, if you were watching, what did you make of that CS Kagwe?
I didn't watch, but what I know that Kenyans are not very happy the way the COVID funds have been managed. And apart from coming to tell us the figures every other day, yesterday the same, the other day the same. They should be able to change a strategy, Miriam, to give hope to the people of Kenya. Mm-hmm. In fact, the figures are not in any way helping Kenya, they are scaring them. Once someone looks at them at the television as they announce them and says, oh my God. So they should be able to read those numbers and tell us what they are trying to do and try to give the people of Kenya some hope. That's what I expect of them. And in fact, we have been saying here that it's not good to start with the numbers of the cases, the confirmed cases in the country. It is very important also to say this number we have heard. These are the numbers we have, and the number of the confirmed cases should be at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. All right, and I think the story is on the Star newspaper there. Down there it says Kagwe says Ministry of Health give no instructions on cancer tenders. Health Cabinet Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe has dismissed claims the ministry instructed the Kenya Medical Supplies Agencies to award tenders to specific suppliers. The CS on Monday said it was prudent to wait for the ongoing probe by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to draw a conclusion into what may have happened at the agency. Daniel, what do you make of all this?
Yes, Miriam, to be very, very honest, we do have a problem in Kenya. We have a problem in the Ministry of Health, and it is clear, crystal clear, that the Ministry of Health has been hijacked by cartel. And as early as today, the CS Mutahi Kagwe should be working on ways on how to crack the whip and be able to clean this ministry, to get rid of these cartels and bring them before justice. It's also clear that we've lost money, and probe need to be done so that we are able to ascertain where this money went to, and which people are the beneficiaries of this grand corruption scandal. So we need a cleanup in our Ministry of Health, and I believe that the CS is up to task, and perhaps Kenyans will be able to recover the money that has gone down the drain in the Ministry of Health, the money that was meant to fight COVID-19. That is what I make out of it.
All right, and from what we've been seeing from the media, the story on page 8 of the Star newspaper, that story, the ministry further dismissed claims it has spent 43 billion Kenya shillings. The emergency saying it has only received 23 billion Kenya shillings on the issues at KEMSA, which saw CEO John Manjari suspended. The CS said the activities which sparked the probe have been ongoing for a long time. So he said, let's leave that, because the EACC and I think the DCI and those investigative bodies are on the case right now. But from what media has been reporting widely is that the Ministry of Health has been able to spend 43 billion, and I think we were having that conversation here just the other day. But Mutahi Kagwe yesterday, he said the only money that he can account for that he has been given, that they have spent as a Ministry of Health, is about 23 billion Kenya shillings. Karen, what do you make of this, the disparities?
Since the EACC is actually investigating together with the DCI, then let's wait for what they have to say. Let us not conclude anytime soon. And their report will tell us what is happening. And I agree with Wesonga, could be there are cartels involved here. I read somewhere else that the CS was trying to tell us that there are people who have been in this ministry for like 20 years. And each time they transfer to other ministries, they go to court. And it happens that they've been to the court for like 7 times. So there are things that are happening in this ministry. And I trust that the CS is capable of handling it together with the ESC and the DCI. So for now, we cannot say anything or conclude or make conclusions because we are waiting for their response. Miriam.
Right, thank you. And the issue of cartel, I think cartel is another industry here in Kenya. It's just, it should even have, its own somebody to just take care of that, because cartel has become another industry in this country. And very interesting because even as we saw the CS Mutahi there yesterday, he seems to be controlling just a part of the Ministry of Health from, the information that we're getting from him. And just yesterday, I think the front pages here of the Star newspaper, Kagwe, how I'll dismantle Afya House cartel. So this is something that has been a problem, and he's saying there are people there who have been able to engage in this dubious, tenders with the government and benefiting for over 20 years. So these are people who are there, have refused to leave, and so he's saying he's going to dismantle them. Can he really do it, Professor?
Miriam, let me just have to say this to say. Mm-hmm. The cabinet secretary is not telling us the truth. Mm-hmm. I can tell you for sure. You don't say this is the money you have been given. You could have given us the information even before Kenyan pursue you. And in fact, I want even to imagine even the people at KEMSA. Action was taken because I saw the other day the development partners being led by the American ambassador being so bitter.
Raising the concerns.
And the following days when you see the kangaroo, I don't know whether I can say that was a board meeting, because you can see the chairman for KEMSA Kembegetura. Initially, the language he was speaking, and after when the ambassador, the development partners have complained, he changed the language. So we addressed this issue here before, and others have raised, and no action was taken until the development partners comes in, be it as it may. You don't tell us that you are going to dismantle cartels. We want to see you dismantling cartels and tell us you have dismantled them. It's an exercise you are telling us. You know the cartels are there, and then you tell us we are going to dismantle them. You could have started as hard as yesterday by taking action. Otherwise, the cartels will dismantle him.
The cartel corruption always fights back. We've had that too many times. All right, very well. And still on COVID-19 and the effects, of course, it has had in this economy. Before we get to the main story and all the circus that was glaring on our television yesterday, the issue with the 3 senators and what is happening in the Senate, we'll get to that. But first off, on the Standard newspaper up there, we are fighting for survival, not profits. Equity boss and is saying renowned banker James Mwangi warns the country is facing an existential crisis and priority for public and private institutions should be to save lives and not make money. Well, he can say that for a man who was able to contribute about 3 million plus, together him and his family to, that fund that now we're being told, I don't know, has been used. We're not even sure what really is happening there. But for people like this who we can see Equity, Mr. Mwangi has been very consistent, and especially when it comes to being there for this country, him and other people who have been blessed to be able to be a blessing, to the country when they're called to. When they look at things like this and scandals like this and the sacrifices, 300 million, that's a lot of money for somebody to have sacrificed to help because they're patriotic, they want to help their country. Him and a lot of other Kenyans came through when they were asked to do so. But when they wake up every morning to scandals like this, of course the investigations are ongoing and we're hoping that they'll get to the bottom of this. Will this encourage Kenyans to come out next time, Daniel? How will this hurt the trust between the people? And the government?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I would really like to put it into much bigger perspective. It's not only Kenyans who are looking at this from the negative side of it. You saw the foreign ambassadors coming out also to lament about this, and that has an implication even to our foreign friends who might maybe in the future who would have wanted to chip in one way or another. And for the local investors, for the local charitable people who are philanthropists, it's really derails them of that willingness to participate into future donations and maybe lending a hand into government and other humanitarian crises. So perhaps the CS for Health, Mutahi Kagwe, should move in with bid and really set a precedent that will be of an example to other ministries, to other departments of government, that at no particular time should people take into their own hands to steal public money. And that is the way to go. Because if we do not solve this scandal at this moment and be able to dismantle cartels, then it's going to haunt us in future. It's going to set a very bad precedence that has been there. It's going to perpetuate it. So as the professor said, let Mutahi Kagwe not talk about how he's going to dismantle the cartels. Let him start dismantling them. When you are going after the mafias, you don't announce to the nation that you are going after the mafias. You just let people see whatever results that you are having, the mafias running on their heels and everything. So that is what you need to see. We need to see him in action, not just speaking in press conferences and reading at the figures. That is all I can say. All
right. And the current, still on that, we see Equity Bank CEO there, Izzy, I think the owner, the founder, saying that right now businesses should be focusing on saving lives and not making money. And then you wake up to all these scandals, that money that is being misappropriated. Would they not wonder, why should we sacrifice our profits while, the people who are supposed to be caring are plundering? Some of them are using, this opportunity to plunder.
Well, Miriam and my fellow panelists, it's very discouraging. It's very discouraging because when you're giving out, it doesn't mean some of us have more than enough. No, we're giving out because it's human to do so. And we're putting ourselves in the shoes of the victims of this current situation in the country. So we don't give because at times we have too much to give. We give because it's human. And when you give it to the whole heart and then somebody takes advantage of it and misuses the funds, it's so discouraging. And as those responsible, as they're doing so, they should remember that the world is watching. And that discourages even the foreign investors because they can imagine of this is a fund and people have already done this with it. What if we get into this country and, they feel like it's very corrupt. And if we're not careful as a country, we will rise in the rank when it comes to the most corrupt countries. Where we are, we could even go high if we're not careful. So it doesn't give a good picture, Miriam, and I condemn it. It's just not right.
All right, very well. And as you said,
Miriam, on that,
yes,
there is what we call private, public partnerships?
Yes.
The 3 PP, yes. And this is exactly what we are seeing, that even Mwangi coming in, because the public and the private sector must come hand in hand to face this pandemic. And I entirely agree with the James that it is good to save life. Because when you are in business, you do business with the people. So if you get annoyed and these people die, then it's almost like telling yourself you are out of business. So what I expect to be taken is strict measures to ensure that the money which has been donated, and that's why I have asked the president.
Will it not discourage this? People will be wanting to come in and partner with the government because this is a very important thing. Will they not be discouraged next time?
That's why I am giving a rider that we want strict measures. We want the president himself to be in charge because this is an extraordinary event of a pandemic. So that he can be able to inspire confidence to the private sector, the donors, to everybody else. So people should not take advantage because money has been given and it can be used very easily. That's what is happening because people are very fearful. This is a pandemic and we are not taking time to follow the protocols or regulations which have been put in place. So more focus should be focused on this COVID so that we can be able to be in the same page with our development partners, our stakeholders, and other people. That's what I have to say, that you should not be discouraged.
All right, very well. So there you go. And of course, these matters are under investigation right now. So we'll just be patient and wait for the report by the Anti-Corruption Commission, the DCI, and other bodies that have the responsibility to investigate and prosecute corruption here in the country. So Kenyans are waiting, and by Kenyans I mean I'm also waiting. And so we go to the topic of the day. What happened yesterday, the drama that we were treated, yesterday in Senate, and the arrest of 3 of their colleagues there. So on the front pages of the Daily Nation, high drama, that's what it says, a day of terror, the gangland-style arrest and ejection from Nairobi of 3 senators opposed to the government-backed proposal of revenue sharing was an open means to a secret end to bar them from attending a special house sitting and ensure the preferred formula is adopted. But the plan flopped after the leaders outsmarted the government's side. Karen, were you watching yesterday?
Yes, I did watch part of the news that talked about this whole Senate thing and the arrest. So, yes, I have a clue, Miriam.
So what did you make of the whole day yesterday? The arrest of the 3 senators and the Senate and the emotions that were running in the Senate floor?
Well, what I can make out of this whole issue that happened yesterday is that right now I can say there is no evidence. I mean, we cannot say the 2 issues, the arrest and the voting, are related in any way until, for now, we cannot say that. But it's very, I think the government cannot just arrest anyone who is out there practicing or doing anything that is democratic, if he's exercising his democratic rights in any way, the government cannot just arrest you for that. However, what I'm saying is the voting and the arrests, I don't think if they have any relationship, they relate in any way. But the sooner the better. What we want the Senate to do, and I'm told there's a committee of 12 representatives who are supposed to meet, and then later on have a kamkunji with the speaker, that is on Monday, and then sit with the rest if that is gazetted on Tuesday. All I'm asking for, and all the rest of us are asking for, is they come to some sort of agreement, because of what has been happening. We have the Senate, the county suffering. You were here, Miriam, the other time, and we were told of people not being paid. They have not been paid for like 2 or 3 months. So I know they have plans of meeting and making decisions, but if they do so, let them remember that we have suffered enough. We have had a lot of these, these meetings being postponed and all of that, and we're tired of it. We want them to, the committee should come to some sort of agreement and, come up with something, because the counties are suffering. People have not been paid. I mean, things are not running the way they're supposed to be. So with the committee, I hope something comes out of it, and their meetings they're supposed to have meetings from Thursday, Wednesday, and even Friday. And that is our hope, that they'll come up with something that will end this whole chaos, because it's just too much. Because it's getting complicated and complicated. Everything comes up, and it's not just right when you keep on postponing this whole thing, because it affects the nation, it affects us. So I think the votes have no relation with the arrest. However, the government cannot just arrest you when you're exercising your democratic rights. Thank you, Miriam.
Oh, very well. Page 4 of the Daily Nation, Daniel, says there was hope for consensus in the Senate last night on the controversial third criterion of sharing revenue after the lawmakers agreed to set up a 12-member committee to look into the issue that has gripped the House for the last 2 months. Now, the committee, with Senators Moses Wetangula of Bungoma and Johnson Sakaja of Nairobi as co-conveners, will have to explore all means and prepare a report to be submitted to a speaker's Kamukunji, that is an informal meeting of the legislators. Hope for consensus came on a day of high drama, anger and emotions after 3 senators were arrested in what was seen as a scheme to stop them from taking part in the very crucial debate. Daniel, what did you make of yesterday's events in Senate and also the arrest of the 3 senators?
Yes, thank you, Miriam. And what I make of whatever unfoldings that took place yesterday at the Senate, and also the drama that we witnessed, is that it brings into perspective the leadership crisis that we have in Kenya. Coming from a Commonwealth origin as a country, we were a former colony. We are a former colony of Britain, rather. And of course, our system of governance for the longest time, it has been like that of Britain and any other country in the world, English-speaking country in the world that was colonized by Britain. But when we enacted the new constitution in 2010, we came up with the structures borrowed from various countries, like the Senate in the US, where we were able to bring them together. But one thing we never did is to prepare our people, our leaders, to bring us such virtues and a platform where these new systems of leadership will be able to seamlessly fit and be able to take root. So what you're having now is a crisis. We have some kind of identity crisis. You see senators speaking on the floor like philosophers, speaking very fastly. When you look at comment, really shouting on the floor. But at the end of the day, after all these very loud talk and fast exchanges in the Senate, one thing you realize is that they don't come to a consensus. They don't agree on something. So by creating these so many levels of leadership, look at what is happening in the county assemblies. There's all chaos there, like MCAs are ever fighting. Last week we had MCAs in Bomet almost killing each other. When you come to Senate, it's the same chaos. When you come to Parliament, it's the same chaos. I think as a country, it's high time we started thinking of getting away with these so many levels of leadership. Why can't we do away with the Senate? Look, Dr. Matsanga has been talking about countries in Africa. We are only like 4 countries which have Senate in Africa. Why do other countries don't have Senate? It's because they're not able to financially sustain Senate. And also looking at the leadership background, most countries were colonized by different countries. Some were colonized by Germany, some were colonized by Britain, some were colonized by France, by Belgium. And these countries, these pre-colonial masters, had different ways of government structure. So we cannot just be able to borrow other structures of leadership, bring them to our people without preparing them. And that is a crisis that has been brought by the structures of leadership and this new constitution. But however, my hope and wish is that this 12-member committee will be able to come to a very conclusive decision, and they'll be able to agree and come up with some sort of consensus which will be able to allow the country to move forward on Monday, and we do away with this all drama and everything. But also, Miriam, it's good to note that perhaps politics are also at play in this all melee, because when you look at the drift of in language and also just the emotion, the political emotions in the country, there's someone who is behind this, who is so much determined to defeat the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote formula. So whatever outcome it will bring, it doesn't paint a good picture of our political class, and we have a very, very big problem, Miriam, which you have to sort and settle as a people.
All right, very well. So yesterday, Professor James Orengo was quoted as saying that the committee that has been set, it has no color, it does not belong to any side. And he continued to say that, I hope that with this arrangement, we can make progress and have consensus. I mean, progress and consensus. This is something that has been, we've had too much of it for the last about 2 months now. Will it make any difference, this committee that they have set apart?
If you look at the committee, Miriam, a politician is just a politician. He was just talking about politics. There are 6 from this side and 6 from this side. Just look at the names and you will tell me. But be it as it may, Miriam, I am on record that people should talk. People should engage. People should have a conversation. Every voice matters. You have been hearing us saying that we need public participation. You add what they say, they are going to see that committee, and they will invite Commissioner for Revenue Allocation, and then Kenyan like us, we have got views we can take there. That is the way forward. Miriam, let me just have this to say. I want to hear someone standing like Professor Kamal and say the basis on our Commission for Revenue Allocation formed that formula. Which area are they unhappy with? Is it health? They want to move money from health and take to others. That is the kind of conversation. Just getting and saying, oh, you don't want this. It is not that the formula is having any problem. The formula is good because we give money to human beings so that they get services, they get health facilities, they get infrastructure, they get water, they get sanitation. That's on the basis how you give out money. But I want to say that it is only a fool who will not change his mind. In fact, the other side was losing yesterday. They realized there were several motions which in the morning they agreed all of them to adjourn, and when they wanted to adjourn, and when then they did not even want to debate. So when they realized that things are not going to their way, then they retreated and they said, and I liked us in terms of mediation, and when you mediate people, when Orengo was speaking, he spoke a gesture, and Sakacha got out of it. And then they said, give us time that we go and have an engagement. I'm happy with that, but the only thing I'm unhappy is that yesterday was not a good day for our country, because what the senators tells us that when they commit crime, they can gang up So are we telling that even the hawkers should gang up even if their own is going to be arrested? Is that what we are telling the matatu operators or the border operators? Even one of them is operator, they want to demand to know. Yesterday they fed us, and it reminds me some days back that there was an MB from Wesonga's place, Okondo. He told Muge, Alexander Muge was a bishop then in the 90s, that the day you will stay Busia, you will never come back alive. And indeed, when Muge dared to go to Busia, he got an accident, he died. And honestly, Muge was not involved in any other way. Okondo was not involved in any way, but it was a reckless talk. So it happened yesterday that those senators, there are 67 of them, 64 of them were not arrested because they did not have a crime. It coincided that they had committed a crime. And what else do you want to tell us that you are a senator who are supposed to promote protocols for COVID? You go in your village, you start giving sanitation and people are not keeping social distance, you are endangering them. So are you telling the members of the police, they wait, you come to the Senate, you debate, and they come to arrest you? Only, I don't know what kind of a banana republic state will do that one. Someone has been arranged that he has gone to his country, he has fed some people, for two communities to fight, you allow him to come to the Senate, he debates, and then you come. So it is unfortunate that it happened on the same day. And my take is that members of parliament or senators or another group, subject yourself to the rule of law. We have been arrested by police before. You simply submit yourself, you go, they will give you a bail and you will come back. But you don't start taking the shooting video and doing those. So it is good, Miriam, that it was a win and win for the people of Kenya. Remember when I finished yesterday, I prayed for them and I said that God should give them wisdom so that they put the country forward. And at the end of the day, let them know frustrate the government. Even the 316 billion they are talking about, it is the executive which is going to correct that money and give. So even if the other sectors are independent, it is high time that we talk to our president, they talk to the prime minister, and talk to everybody else. We have got a country medium to build.
All right, very well. So yesterday's deal came on a day that lawmakers realized that indeed the House was deeply polarized, and we saw when you listen to the senators speak a lot of passion and emotions, and sometimes a lot of them went out of objectivity, and they were being driven by other emotions, and sometimes when you are too emotional you lose perspective sometimes. But when Kenyans are watching this, for those who might not understand the politics that could be behind some of these arguments there on the floor, the common mwananchi thinks, oh, that person is fighting for me. That person is very passionate about the money that I'm supposed to get when the other person wants to take it away from me. You know, the normal Kenyans, they don't understand the theatrics and the politics behind this and the people who are pushing some of these arguments. And we saw the polarization. Should we be worried that might trickle down to the Wananchi down there? We've seen in the morning Kakamega residents, a few of them started protesting, and in Bomet yesterday. Should we change tact on how we're dealing with these things for the unity of this country? What should be done moving forward, Karen?
It has already begun affecting the common Wananchi. Like you just mentioned, Miriam, yes, it happened in the morning. We had protests in Kakamega, and that whatever has happened this morning gives us a picture of the whole thing, that whatever these people do at the top there, it affects us immediately, and these common Wananchi may not even understand on how to handle such situations, but the leaders know how to. They can sit down and talk. The common Wananchi does not even understand that, and what you show them from these houses parliament and these other places, they copy from you. So the leaders should know that we, the common Wananchi, watch them. And, without their knowledge, they get to tell us of how we should react, because that is how you react when you're in parliament. That is how you react when when we have issues. So it directly affects us. And I think it should come to a stop. Let us know how to handle issues, controlling our emotions. And talking is one of the best ways, as Professor Jared always tells us, sitting down. Because when you sit down as leaders, then the common mwananchi knows that, okay, he or she gets it. Like, we have to settle issues, but we need to sit down and talk. We don't have to become violent. We cannot lose control of our emotions. So they copy from us. That is something that these leaders need to learn, Miriam. And so, yes, it has an effect on what happens on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Very well, Daniel. When you saw the passion run through Senate yesterday, there the division was quite apparent. If not checked, that division, can it run down to the common mwananchi, who may not understand the politics behind all these things that you're seeing? Daniel?
Yes. First of all, let me take this opportunity my dissatisfaction and regret on how the members of the Senate conducted themselves yesterday. And you see, Miriam, yesterday there was a lot of emotions more than a reason. And what I always tell people, if you're in a kind of argument, you're trying to persuade people to align with your point, you don't raise your voice, you rather improve the quality of your argument so that people can be able to follow whatever, see essence in whatever you're trying to project. And talking about its impact on the people, I can tell you for a fact, Miriam, in this country, there is no particular incidents where people out of their own impulse have come on the streets to be able to start chaos and fight each other. They always have the political machinery in it. And trust me, even for the demonstration that happened in Bomet yesterday, there was someone who is connected to the senator who went on the ground to mobilize these people to tell them what they are supposed to do. They are always coordinated, and even in Mumias, no person will abandon going to the farm in the morning, going to their hustles to come and demonstrate unless they have been called on by an agent of the politician and be told we are meeting at this particular place at this particular time so that you can demonstrate for this and this and that. If they were to demonstrate, I tell you, Miriam, these people would have demonstrated when these leaders were still in Nairobi. Why then will they just come out on the streets when they're in their backyard? So we know whatever it happens, it is the leaders who bring people to the streets to demonstrate, to champion their own political agenda. So, and it's something that I feel personally that is a very dangerous path. Especially when we are left only with a few 2 years to the general election. We should not be bringing the country to these kind of political temperatures when we previously had the 2007 post-election violence, and we are just trying to get the country on the progressive path of peace and unity through the BPI. So I think it's a bit retrogressive. And the leaders should be condemned in the strongest terms possible. And this is an action that really, really derails our fabric of unity and cohesiveness as a people. So it has a very great impact to Miriam, more than you can imagine.
All right, very well. And those images there are from Kakamega this morning. I think Malala arrived there, and he refused to go into the police cell. He said they had to fumigate it. And I think at around 4 a.m. they allowed him to sleep in his car, waiting this morning for his lawyer. And Nelson Harvey has been working overtime. Professor? We saw him in Bomet yesterday, and this morning he was in Kakamega. I wondered, how did he get there?
Let me tell you, if you are elected and you become an honorable member of parliament or an honorable senate, what you need to do, you have to behave honorably. I have said when the police come, they have got law and you are protected by the constitution. Lagat was taken to Bomet. Those loud youths, you can't stop the police. You can't stop from the government from executing its mandate. They protect life and property. He appeared there, they tried to demonstrate. You know what happened? He was taken in, he recorded a statement, and he was released and went to his home.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what happened. And what about the youths who broke the law, was trying to ban this law? They were arrested. So the senators, once you find yourself in the wrong side of the law, you ought to understand. I like the way James Orengo said. He knows when the police arrest him, he knows what to do. He knows how to behave. Even Jaragay, he said himself, he has been arrested 4 times, but he has come to know what he needs to do. Talk well to the police, they will give you where to sleep, give you good food to eat. So it is very unfortunate as a senator, you refuse to go to a cell. What are you telling the rest of the citizens? The ordinary one, ain't it? Every other time another one comes, he said, you go and forgive. We are all equal before the law. Go and write the statement. You will get bond. You will be told when you go to court. You take a plea. If you will be subjected to the judicial process. And if you are innocent, you will walk away. That is what I expect. And what you need to do as a reader, you breathe to your supporters. Tell them there's nothing to fear. This is the normal process. So it is very unfortunate, and I didn't even like when I saw him at this residence. You are taking a video, you are causing all the drama. In fact, if you could have even talked to that police, they could have even given him you could say, go to the Senate, finish your business, then we go to record a statement. These people are human beings. Remember, Miriam, I'm a chaplain for police and citizen together. Policemen are human beings and are our brothers and our sons and our uncles and everybody else, our daughters else. So you don't need to make life so difficult for them when they are executing their mandates. And this is how we start destroying our country. Let me tell you, my friend, 2017, before the handshake, you saw what happened to the country. Everybody was demonstrating. We have come to realize violence does not build a nation. Peace and negotiation build a nation. Let us subject ourselves to having an engagement. That's my brief, Miriam. Violence does not pay. Crime does not pay. Inciting the innocent ordinary Kenyans to come for your rescue, when you knew very well you can't go and give sanitation without following protocol, that is very bad of you. And your leadership can be queried. And my advice to the young registrars and senators, learn from, you see the way Orengo speaks, see the way Bogicho speaks, is sober. They have come from far, they have seen this. If you want someone to come to your side, you talk, you don't shout to them, you engage them, and you get what you want.
All right.
And sometimes look at this Kangata. He's a youthful senator, he talks careless, but sometimes he retreats and shocks everybody. Yesterday you say they were shocked when he said that I'm supporting the adjournment. That is how leadership, that's how you play leadership. There's a time to strike, there's a time not to strike, there's a time to keep quiet, Miriam.
Very well. And yesterday, Honorable Kangata is not to be very soft-spoken. He lost his cool several times yesterday there. And for the first time, I heard him raise his voice. But, the headline there on the Standard newspaper this morning, Senate under siege. If you just read, you're just passing by and you're a visitor in this country and you got a hold of a newspaper and that is the headline that you saw without going into details. Is such headlines alarming and perhaps dangerous? I don't know, Karen.
Yes, I agree. Totally dangerous. And I do not blame the media for doing that. It's because of what the Senate has given us, the picture it has given us already. So I cannot blame them for having such headlines. They have given us a different picture, and it's apart from what to expect from this whole leadership thing. So yes, when you do something, at times you can do everything right, Miriam, but then you just do one little mistake and it will just spoil this whole legacy you've had. And that is what they're doing. Thank you, Miriam.
Legacy. I will speak about President Uhuru Kenyatta here because I think right now he's so serious about securing his legacy. Will this damage any, if at all, Daniel? Will this have any ramification of President Uhuru Kenyatta? He had managed to gain Kenyans' trust, even for those who did not vote for him in the last elections. Things like this, because people assume President, perhaps Raila Odinga, perhaps DP Ruto, when you see all these conversations happening in Senate, they might not be involved in this, but people assume they are the backstops with them. Would this in any way hurt the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta?
Miriam, to be very honest to that question, I think the president's legacy is right on course, and much is happening behind the scenes. A lot of projects are being enrolled, a lot of projects are being launched, and you can see it when you go to the delivery, the presidential delivery unit. When you look at our media outlets, the State House page, there's always new projects coming up, and I think President Uhuru Kenyatta is right on course. And when you look at whatever was happening in the Senate yesterday, it had little to do with the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. It had very little to do with President Uhuru Kenyatta. As you know, they have been committed since the handshake happened to keep a very united country, to give Kenyans a progressive agenda, and of which even the one man, one vote, one shilling is a very, very good agenda. And this is a formula that has been worked on by public finance experts. It was done through consultation between the county government and the national government, and it went through all the necessary legal processes before they arrived at that formula. So perhaps what the question we should be asking ourselves is, it is not whether it's going to have an impact on the president's legacy, but rather, who is this unseen individual behind the scenes who is running the show? Because when you look at how these senators are behaving, this thing is very political, and I have a very, very fervent belief that there is someone behind the scenes who is pulling the strings and just smiling, watching the show unfolding, causing chaos. The upper house is no longer the upper house. It has become a house of dishonor and chaos. And I think going forward, we should we should come at a point where we shall ask ourselves as the people if whether we need all these houses of governance, as I've said. Do we really need the Senate? If we can be embroiled in this kind of stalemate for almost a month, just passing a very simple bill, a formula that has undergone all the constitutional threshold. So, to me, I don't think it has anything to do with the president's legacy. The president's legacy is quite on course. Everything is happening perfectly in terms of uniting the country, in terms of giving Kenyans progressive agenda, in terms of infrastructural development. But what we need to work on is the political atmosphere in the country. And perhaps, as I've said, I strongly believe there is someone who is inciting the senators, who is causing divisions in the upper house so as to paint the government and the former opposition leader in bad light. That is my perspective, Miriam.
All right, very well. And speaking of President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy, well, you know, this park that was President Uhuru Kenyatta opened on Friday, you know, the Michuki Park just near Kijabe Street and Kipande Road at Globe roundabout there. When you look at it right now, it's so beautiful. And I think the story is on page 8 of the Standard newspapers. It says, when you cross the recently paved road and into John Michuki Memorial Park, you leave the city behind and are transported into an alternate Nairobi, a Nairobi that aspires to regain its glory as the green city in the sun. Now, the buildings on Kijabe Street in the sun, with the vehicles parked outside the shops selling bathroom fittings and books, give away to the lush greens of the recently reclaimed park there. Now, when you look at this park, and of course the person who commissioned it, the late John Michuki, and you see every place, every ministry that old man was put, he left there a mark and a legacy. And now we see in terms of this park, and we see in the matatu industry where he brought in a lot of changes that still live today. Of course, a bit of it has since been corrupted, but still, we remember when you think about seatbelts in PSVs, you think about order and how uniforms and things like that. Michuki brought it, and now we see this is a person who left legacy. Wherever he went, he touched, and you can tell he left a trail there. What does that say about such leadership, and perhaps what we are lacking right now in the crop of leaders you're having in terms of the people who are put in these ministries, the people who are given responsibilities, and what we see right now with all this corruption that is at play, Professor?
Miriam, thank you for that good question. What guides a country, what guides an institution, Miriam, is rules and regulations and policies. Michuki did not have anything to do. It is only implemented the law. And if you are properly trained, and in fact, let me tell you, let me just reckon Michuki to Matiang'i, Cabinet Secretary Dr. Matiang'i. He started with the Ministry for Communications. And we had been fighting, do we go digital, do we remain analog, do we do this one? And the law says that the commitment of the world, we go digital. He woke up one morning when the law was on his side and they had exhausted, he switched them. Everybody's on digital today. He was a very hard man. He went to the Ministry of Education with all the cartels there. He said that the children will get their start before they go for Xmas. And when in January, when you open schools, you from one should go to school, it happened. So what we need to do, even some of the cabinet ministers who are in office now, there is no favor you are asking us, we are asking you to do. Go and implement the law. What the law says, implement it. So it is the kind of personality, and if you are willing to follow the law, you will succeed. I will remember Michuki, there is no ministry he stepped in. And remember, Michuki was properly trained as a colonial DO to follow regulations. So also the kind of training which people undergo is also very important. If you, even Matiang had worked was a personal assistant of Simon Nyaja, who was a colonial trained, and he became a chief secretary and all those kind of. So what I want to see, the kind of training you go, the kind of education you go, the kind of personalities you go, and the law is on your side and policies, you will succeed, Miriam. But some of the cabinet secretary, ministers, or CEO, they want to play Mr. Nice. Follow the law, and the Kenyans will be very happy. So Michuki follows the law, see Michuki back. And we expect, even in fact, I have got no kind words to the current cabinet secretary for environment.
Tobacco.
See, we did away with plastic bags. Professor Judy was very passionate. This one is talking about going to destroy people's houses and even planting trees, and he is not having that coordinated approach. So what you need to do, consult people, talk with people, engage with people, and you will succeed. And Michuki, one of the reasons why Michuki succeeded, let me tell you this. He believed on technocrats and professionals. Michuki will call you to his office. He will say, can this one be done? Can it be done? Where is it being done? Go to that country and see and bring me a report. He used to have comparative development of what has happened place elsewhere. So the current cabinet secretary should also be able to learn on that. And what I've said, if they follow, the people of Kenya will smile and will be happy with the position they have given. You don't go sit for 5 years. And that's why, in fact, the president, with the powers he has, he should have reserved his cabinet as high as yesterday, if he has to leave any legacy, because the current cabinet secretaries are letting down. That's what I have to say, Miriam, on that.
Oh, I just seen that it even has bleachers. People can sit there and have a concert or something. Once this corona is over, we can have some jazz, something there at the John Michuki Memorial Park. But speaking of leadership, Daniel, what can perhaps the new crop of, especially the CSs that are there, can learn from this? Or rather, people who have been given responsibilities in these very important institutions?
Yes, one important lesson they should learn is that the good deeds you do as a leader, the good legacy that you leave, lives long after even you are long dead. And that is what is happening to John Michuki. His conservative efforts are coming to play today when we launched the John Michuki Recreational Park. And also we haven't forgotten his reforms that he oversaw in the transport industry. He was able to solve the security situation in central Kenya by stamping out the Mungiki dissidents under the Ministry of Interior. And also, Professor Jared Onyari has just mentioned people who are able to learn from his footsteps, and perhaps maybe what I would like also to bring on the table, and just to add on the man's credit, is that right now the Rift Valley regional coordinator, that is George Natembea, was also at some point his PA, and you can see the incredible work that guy is doing. He's always very determined. So perhaps Michuki was a consummate reformer. He believed in the rule of law. He believed in serving the people, and that is the crop of leadership that we see today in Dr. Matiang'i, and perhaps our CS, the rest of the cabinet, the PS, the cabinet assistant secretary, and the rest of the civil service cadre should be able to learn from such kind of leadership, a resolute leadership which is more determined in delivering long-going projects, long-going values, long-going policies that will run long even after they have left office. That is what we need as a country, and that will be the best leadership, and that will be the best legacy they can ever leave as leaders.
All right, very well. And of course, Karen, this has been made possible by the new Nairobi Metropolitan Service unit there. They came and they gave a new face to this park, and now it has become a fully fledged, a very beautiful park there, I might say. From the pictures, I've not been able to go there, and I passed there on my way home. Perhaps one day I should go there and take a run. I see it has very nice places that could happen. But NMS came in and it is changing the face of this city. While we had Kidero came in, went a lot of corruption and all that. Sonko came in, we thought, all right, so perhaps he understands the problems of the people in this city. But they were not very concerned. The beautification projects that were going on were quite, I don't know, why it says a lot also about delivery. Karen, what do you make of this in regards to leadership?
Okay, when it comes to leadership, I understand everybody cannot be like the other person. We cannot all behave the way somebody else behaved or do what this other person did. But it all comes down to delivering to the people of Nairobi. And what I can say is these other counties should learn from what is happening in Nairobi. You know, when you put the interest of the people before your own interest, then you make everything beautiful. And that's how you can turn a forest into a park. Now, the leaders we've had before could be, possibly, they had their own interests. They put their own interest before those of the people of Nairobi. And that's why we see that these other people could not do what these people have done right now, or the NMS has done right now. So these other leaders should learn from what is happening in Nairobi right now. The people come first, and that's why when you put people first, you forget about your own. You're able to serve them. You avoid things like corruption. Miriam, things like corruption coming because we put ourselves first before these other people. We forget the rest. Okay, it's just me who matters here. I'm the leader of this place. I lead, So people and leaders should forget about themselves when it comes to leadership and put the matters of the people ahead of, their all selfish interests. That is what we can do to achieve what Nairobians are achieving right now. Back to you.
All right, very well. Before we conclude with the headlines and go into the topic of the day, the Star newspaper, Weston scandal, NLC backs Ruto in hotel dispute, and the story is on page 2 of the Star newspaper. I'll just read a bit of it to just put us into context. Now, the National Land Commission has defended its decision to allow Deputy President William Ruto pay for the land on which Weston Hotel stands, despite the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority's claim to it. In its latest filings in court, NLC argues that KCAA simply wanted it to ignore Ruto's rights as a legitimate buyer of the property for the avoidance of doubt. The remedy of restitution sought by the petitioner would mean that the NLC would turn a blind eye to Weston Hotel's rights Crossroads as a bona fide purchaser and further act in violation of Section 14 of the NLC Act, which allows the Commission to issue consequential orders it deems appropriate in a claim, the Constitution of Kenya and the Fair Administrative Act, the NLC said. And remember when this scandal about the Weston Hotel, I don't know if you can remember with me when it started, and our deputy president so many times on different occasions said he had nothing to do with Weston Hotel. And you remember, at first when this scandal started, he did not come out and say, I own Weston Hotel, until he was, I think, in another interview with an international broadcaster. That's when he actually, said that, yes, I'm the owner of Weston Hotel. And now we see that land there is still under dispute. KCAA is having a problem by how the National Land Commission has gone to argue that Ruto should be allowed. He compensates the KCAA and he's allowed, and KCAA is saying we want that land back. Professor?
Miriam, there was an old man, and the grandson wanted to test him whether he was wise, because the old man was wise. He took a butterfly, he put it on his hand, and he asked the grandpa, what I have inside here, is it dead or it is alive? And the grandchild was very mischievous, because he wanted, if the grandfather says it is alive, he squeezes it off. And if he will say it is dead, he will allow it to fly. The old man said this, my grandchild, it is you who knows what you have in your hand, whether it is dead or alive. Me, it is you. Why am I saying this? The deputy president knows very well on his concerns. Whether where the land where Weston Hotel is, it is for KCA or it is for himself. And if he searches his concerns and finds it well, there are sometimes things which you let them go. You don't allow them to bug you every other day. This is a government institution, the same government which you serve. Then how do you tell people to fight corruption? How do we tell people not to grab public land? So I reviewed these concerns. And it is very unfortunate that the National Land Commission has started arguing in such a reckless way. They know anything which belongs to the people of Kenya must be returned. See where Tachimo was standing. These days pass there and see how the road has been constructed.
Who owns
so
Tachimo?
Anything which was good for the public use, for him and for everybody else, return the land to KCA. That's what I have to tell him to do, and search his concerns and find whether should he allow every other day, every other year, everybody walks in and says Western Hotel, Western Hotel. It does not hang well, especially him who is aspiring to be the CEO of this country.
So it's not worth the destruction of peace of mind. Okay, so this is what the story continues to say, Daniel. The NLC had declared that the land belonged to the public, but directed that the hotel pay KCAA for its market value to legalize the ownership. Now, KCAA opposed the decision in court. The Civil Aviation Authority claims Weston Hotel is built on public land designated as a flight path. It says the land was irregularly transferred to private developers. So two things. This is public land. And the second point, this hotel has been built on flight path. So, public land, should it be returned to the public? And then what are the dangers of even thinking about building on a flight path? Daniel.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Miriam. And let me first of all say categorically that the NLC, the National Lands Commission, is as corrupt as William Ruto. And we have very cheeky individuals in that commission. You know, you cannot just wake up one day and say and tell us that the National Lands Commission neglected the statutory procedures that are there for them to follow in order to repossess a public land, and especially land that which is at the very heart of a key government institution, the Kenya Airports Authority. And what I suggest going forward is that, Miriam, put it into context. You are found owning a stolen bicycle, which belongs to someone else. So when the police come for you, what do you do? Do you surrender? Do you always surrender the bicycle to the police so that they can give it back to the owner? Or do you start negotiating whether you should pay the owner? No, when you're found with a stolen property, the first thing you do is to surrender the property to the government so that the government then takes it back to the rightful owner. Then you can go and settle the matter with whoever sold you the land. So that is what should happen. William Ruto should not be compensated. William Ruto should not be given any space to negotiate for the whether to pay or maybe to settle with the government on when it comes to that land. And for the record, Miriam, it is because of that land that the hotel was built there that we had some scuffle between the same hotel with the Lanata Primary School, where children were tear gassed by the police. And this is because a key public figure, a deputy president, had grabbed public land which belongs to the Kenya Airports Authority, built their hotel, and he was in the process of again grabbing a primary school land which is just adjacent to the hotel. So it will be a very bad precedence when you give him a chance to either negotiate and pay Kenya Airports Authority, or rather maybe seek compensation from the government. No, we have to look at it in a perspective of even a common mwananchi. If you are found with a government property, the law requires that you surrender the property to the government, and that has been what the law has been doing since time immemorial. So William Ruto is not above the law. So perhaps it's time Kenyans came out and demanded that that land be surrendered back to the Kenya Airports Authority, and the hotel be demolished, because you cannot even say that it will be converted into government offices because it is on the flight path. So that is what ought to be done. It should be surrendered back to the Kenya Airports Authority. The hotel should go down.
All right, because even the Western Hotel owners themselves, that will be the Deputy President William Ruto, they're saying yes, it has been established, part of the hotel is built on public land, and even the National Land Commissioner said that. But now, from what we know, if you have it's public land, you're supposed to return it, not compensate for it. Or am I getting it wrong, Karen?
No, you're not getting it wrong, Miriam, because the fact remains that it's public land. So, but my question is, where was the NLC when this hotel was being built? You would agree with me that it didn't take 2 days for it to be completed. It took maybe months. Where were these people? They were there when this whole thing was happening, when it was being constructed. So there's also laxity on their part. And but the fact remains that this land belongs to the public, so it should be taken to the public. You don't need to compensate them. Okay, you're compensating them, but it remains that this is a path where flights, pass through. So it doesn't make any sense, even if you're to compensate them, but then you're a distraction, because this is a part of where planes, so it doesn't make sense. Compensation doesn't make sense here. We should just hand it over to the public. However, where was the NLC when this whole thing began?
Mm-hmm. Good question there, Professor. Can you end it for us? Yeah, it is on the flight path.
Let me have to say.
Yes.
The continual standing of Western Hotel is double standard and treating Kenyans in a different way. There was a building down there around as you go to Mbagati, mm-hmm. for the former member of parliament for Bobas Manot. It was brought down. Mm-hmm. UK Center in Western was brought down. Mm-hmm. What is so special about Western Hotel when it has been established? It is starting on the public land. That one itself, and the owner being the deputy president of a country, is enough for him to resign from office. It is because we don't enforce Chapter 6 of our Constitution. What else do you want? Do you force the government to sell you land? You go to the airport and now tell there is a process. The board has to sit, come with a minute, we negotiate that land before we sell it to the public. That was not done. In fact, Daniel has brought a very good analogy. If you are found with a stolen property, you don't start breathing, oh, someone told for me this. You go in, we deal with you for having been found with a stolen property. That is a crime. Then we start following the person who sold you, so we deal with him. That is the only way, Miriam, we can be able to fight corruption. And if the Western Hotel will not be brought down and land be returned to Kenya Airports Authority, then the government is treating its people in double standard. And that one cannot be tolerated, Miriam. That's what I have to say on that.
Oh, very well. The Kenya Civil Aviation Authority is still claiming that land from Western Hotel. So this story might not leave, so soon. But Professor, that you've mentioned, perhaps the best thing that Deputy President should have done by now is just give it up, and perhaps you'll have a peace of mind. I'm not sure that is something he's looking to do. I'm not sure, but perhaps he will change his mind. I don't know, but we shall be following this story for you. So that is just what was in the Kenya's newspaper this morning, the Standard newspaper, the Daily Nation, and also the Star newspaper. So now let's just turn to our topic of the day. We're still waiting for Dr. Matanga. He is caught up. He was attending to some important meetings. So once he's done, if he's done on time, he will join us. If not, very well, you have us, and so you're in good company. So our topic of today is the world at crossroads with COVID-19. Karen.
Well, yes, it is, because if it wasn't, then we would have done away with this whole virus thing a long time ago. But we should, and I think it's getting complicated because, Miriam, there are sources that say that nowadays even the symptoms are not what we used to. We have things like loss of smell and taste. That is something you don't even expect from this whole COVID thing. And we have things to do with diarrhea. So yes, we're at crossroads. And as much as we're at crossroads, there's hope, because we've seen different countries and to come up with a vaccine and all of that. So as much as we're at crossroads, yes, that we shouldn't lose hope, because they are working on it, and this gives us hope, actually. So I don't see why we should just stand still just because also some other people are working on it. We should just sit and wait. We're waiting for a vaccine, yes. We should also work on seeing that we bring this virus thing, to some end. If at all it has an end, we take doubt. But then we actually reduce the numbers and all of that. However, there's something else, Miriam, that I also read somewhere, that this virus is mutating. But the good thing about this whole mutation is that the virus becomes less dangerous. So as it mutates, it becomes less dangerous. Yes, it can infect more people, but then it's less dangerous. Finally, yes, Miriam, we're at crossroads, but we cannot lose hope right now. Thank you.
Daniel, Karen, they're saying we can't just sit here and wait for Russia to bring us the vaccine. We have to do something. Are we at a crossroads when it comes to COVID-19?
Yes, Miriam, one thing we have to agree on is that the COVID-19 has really changed the way we live, the way we interact, the way we even go out there and be able to seek for our own livelihood. It has disrupted a lot of jobs. It has disrupted learning. It has disrupted our routine of worship and all that. So perhaps most governments now in Africa and globally are trying to come up with ways on how they can be able to fight the pandemic, but as well also sustain the economy. So to some good extent, we are at crossroads, and we only hope that perhaps the steps towards vaccines will be achieved sooner than later. And as Karen said, we cannot just sit back, especially as of Africa, wait for any country to come up or another country to come up with a vaccine, because we have to understand that our people have different genetic composition and perhaps maybe immunity strength. So perhaps now we should also, our own researchers, as we wait and work towards vaccine, should also be doing something in trying just to get a proper position in case we had a vaccine, if it could work well with us, or maybe perhaps there's some things we need to do here and there. So that is why we have research institutes here in Kenya. We have Cambridge, and I believe they should be working around the clock also to see which way forward in terms of getting a vaccine for this virus, and be able to help our people go back to normal life. Mm-hmm. So that is what is happening. It has brought a lot of chaos. It has brought a lot of confusion. It's every country is just trying on the basis of wait and see. It's a trial and error kind of basis. Mm-hmm. So perhaps our hope and wish is that all agencies that are concerned with the development of vaccine will work along the clock to be able to come up with something cognitive that will be able to give this country and the entire world an earlier reprieve in terms of curing and being able to overcome this pandemic.
Mm-hmm. All right, very well. Professor, COVID-19 threw all of us in uncharted waters. Even for the countries we thought had a better healthcare system, had everything in check, underbelly of so many things that we didn't know this part of the world. The dark third world growing economy here in Africa, we didn't know. We thought, should this thing become worse, then we will have the worst end of the stick. But as it appears, the countries which we thought were better off compared to their healthcare systems, compared to how well we thought they are, that has been challenged. So we've all been thrown into uncharted waters, as I've said there before. We're at crossroads when it comes to COVID-19.
Miriam, if there's one book, if you have read The Carcass of Huns by Mecha, somebody, he said during the Mau Mau resistance, when they were attacking the colonial settlers and even the DCs and everybody else, they would attack at the same time. So that when you raise your phone to go to the other side, you will find that the phone is disconnected. And if it happens to go through, the other person will say that I'm so much heat that I cannot come for your rescue. Why am I saying this? The world is at the crossroads, and when you reach at the crossroads, you find the roads crossing. And if you are so new, you even don't know which road you will follow. Will I go back or do what? With the coronavirus, with the corona pandemic, God decided to cross the world like a small village. And at a time like this, everybody is for himself and God for us all. Why am I making so? There is no country which is coming for your rescue. Even the global leaders who can come together and sit down and make a decision or a resolution or the way forward, they cannot meet. We have been castigating African Union, which has failed to over leadership. Even World Health Organization, which is supposed to give way forward, they are so much confused. So every other country is on its own. The economies are shattered. We have seen people losing jobs. You cannot be, even if you become sick today, thank God that you don't become sick, which needs specialized treatment. Some countries do not allow you to go to their country. We have seen domestic violence and gender-based violence coming into being. Even I saw the Secretary General of the United Nations Guterres trying to say so much confused that he doesn't even know what to be done. Honestly, we have seen people losing jobs. We have seen young girls and women becoming pregnant at a very high rate. Our education system is closed, not even in Kenya alone. For the first time in the history of this country, no national examination is going to take place. People are so much stressed. People are so much traumatized. In fact, people even don't know, they even wonder where will the help come from. I even listened to the Prime Minister for Italy, When the pandemic was so much serious, they say that we have done everything humanly possible. Now, where it has to be, help has to come from above. So, Miriam, I will speak on and on. You heard even what the Prime Minister for United Kingdom. We saw this thing even going to the Paris and get the principals. In fact, the world is at the crossroads. There is no vaccination, the vaccine which has been found. We don't know what next. Even people who have recovered, we don't even know the way forward. You know, Miriam, COVID-19 has overthrown culture. It has overthrown culture. People are at the crossroads. You have had people complain, we are losing our loved ones. We cannot send them all in a decent way. Miriam, don't you think that the world is not at the crossroads? Imagine I cannot greet you, and yesterday you were trying to say, do you know how someone can be offensive if you don't greet this kind of person? So the world is at the crossroads.
Yes.
They don't know what to do. Surely by the grace of God, we will find the way forward. But we are at the crossroads.
All right, Professor, I love handshakes, but not always. Yes. And now you've mentioned something there that is quite important that has been heard here, and that is the economy of, I think, every country here in the world. And of course, the outbreak has showed policymakers and businesses how fragile the just-in-time delivery system of the global economy is and how dependent national economies are on such a fragile mechanism. When China was first hit by the COVID-19, 2/3 of the entire Chinese economy was shut down, which in weeks led to supply shortage across the globe. Now China seems to have passed at least the 5th wave of the break, but this time industrialized countries of the West are at the peak of it, and there is a global demand and shortage. But on the flip side, and we saw, for heaven's sakes, COVID-19 told us that we could actually make masks for ourselves. You don't have to import these masks that now are part of the corruption scheme. But it taught us that we could do some of these things that we have been depending and importing from outside. So on the flip side, has it challenged us to tap into the potential that we didn't even know existed in our own settings as Africa, and moving forward? Can we now learn from that experience and from what had happened to ensure that we are able to cushion ourselves, we are able to tap into these new opportunities and perhaps rebuild our economies moving forward there, Karen?
Yes, it has. It has woken most of us. And maybe we did not know that we could do so much that we have done so far. We realized that we can make our own masks, we can make beds, we can make so many other things that we've been getting from other countries. So it is, forgive me, I'm about to say this, but it's a blessing in disguise.
It is.
Taught us a little. It has brought out the potential in us as Africans, as Kenyans, and that should continue. All we need is support from, a local support, because people are used to getting stuff from outside the country. They believe that is real, that is original, but it's time that we support what we have here locally, and that will actually increase the morale. Like what the president did the other day, getting the beds and all of that. That is what we want, from beds to masks to these other products, because we can do it. This pandemic has proved to us that we are not the weaklings that we've always thought we are. So it's a wake-up call, and it has, as much as it has brought so many other negative impacts and all of that, I would call them negative, but then it has woken us, and I want to tell we Kenyans that we should use this opportunity to promote, to grow this whole economy that is down right now by encouraging the produce of the production of what we have here locally, and promote what we can make here.
All right, very well. Thank you so much there, Karen. I'm told Dr. David Matanga has just joined the conversation. Doctor, very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
All right.
How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. Are you okay?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I've been listening to your conversation, and I thank you very much, all of you, for the contribution you have made. Professor, you made very valid points. Good afternoon, Mzee.
Good afternoon.
Karen, you made very fantastic points. Wesonga, you made good points on the question, especially of Malala and the rule of law. And Miriam, thank you for guiding the show. First, to summarize 1 or 2 points before I jump into this topic.
Go ahead.
Is the rule of law. The rule of law is rule of law. You can jump up to heaven, you can call yourself whatever thing you want. But the rule of law is the rule of law. You can't be a senator and you refuse to obey the police. That's it. It's up. You can go and tell everybody. You can also, Malala picks money from both sides. There's now evidence. That's what I've been looking for, and I got it. You can't pick people's money and then eat, then go this way, pick money. Then, you know, you have to pay.
Yeah.
We mafias, the mafia people, we don't keep quiet. There's no darker state that will leave you. Nyenye mchunge watoto hii, these boys, these new senators, wakina Sakaja wana pick money kutoka all sides. This way, that way, pick money. Mutaumia. I like the point the professor raised. Mimi, I come to the show to tell the truth. Does Ruto feed me? To hell. Does he feed me? I don't pick money from anywhere. From Ruto. You pick money from here, then go and pick money. Then you use money. Then the time of reckoning arrives. You scream, oh, I'm Senator Kagameka. Don't harass me. You have picked people's money. Return the money. Kwenda. Yo, ushenzi. Tutaambiana ukweli.
Tell them.
Don't pick money from both sides. We know. There's no evidence. Thank you for raising the point, Prof. Point number 2. Last night I had a very beautiful show, and thank you, Professor. And Wesonga and others, Karen, I think you watched. Thank you, Miriam, you watched. Fantastic. If you follow my analysis, why do who is Sakajas? Stop it. 745,000 people, voters in the county of Nairobi, are under poverty, abject poverty. They have no equalizing fund, no equalization fund. Team Kenya, is it? Whereas Turkana, 886,000, they have equalizing fund. You don't use it, even if you have gone to school. Anyway, these cheap universities, where some people go and they think, instead of eating, then they have gone to eat mandas on River Road. Sorry. That's why people don't see the truth. People are not, you can't see that difference between Nairobi and Turkana. And I wanted to use this chance, this woman of Turkana, go back to school. You insulted President Uhuru Kenyatta, but we shall also insult you naked. we shall insult you naked. I'm preparing a dossier for you. You touch Uhuru, you touch me, the legacy. And I will attack you tonight. All your activities now are documented. I have them. How many times do you go back to Ghana with your boyfriend here? Who? You have a wife, you have a husband in Turkana. Who's your boyfriend? Where Muslete? Don't come up with accusations against Uhuru Kenyatta. You are a senator. You lament. You insult the head of state. What has he done? Nebuchadnezzar. What is the king he said? He said Uhuru is Nebuchadnezzar, isn't it? Did you hear the speech in the Senate? So you expect we Uhuru friends to keep quiet, you woman? How many times do you go back in Turkana? Where Mama, you are like my daughter, so I'll just leave it. Otherwise, I have the dossier. I don't want to release a dossier to a daughter like you. It will be like releasing a dossier to A4. Wacha. Rudi kwa shule usome. You need more education. There's light. Yeah. Don't have that mentality of cattle rustling. Remove it. Yes. Karamojongs across the bridge. We have trained them how to grow crops. How many times have you trained Turkana people to grow crops? Every time, every year, representatives from Turkana cry of money lacking, hunger killing. Their representatives are busy in Nairobi, hammering drinks and being hammered. Two things, hammering drinks and being hammered also. Now I have evidence. You know, with Matanga, you come when you are ready. Whether Malala, whether who come, bring it on. It's not yet finished. It's not yet finished. You touch Uhuru, you insult Uhuru, I have a package for everybody, which I'll release like a bees. Ooh, nakuja. Yourselves, you serve your master. You serve your master who was seated in Taveta, in his farm, laughing, giving instructions. Unafikiri tujui? Unafikiri tujui? Songa, thank you for bringing that point. Master laughing, opening white teeth. Nikolai Machiavelli disrupting. Haven't you seen they have come back to Matanga formula? Matanga and isn't it what we said? Sir, isn't it what he said, Professor William? Isn't it what we have been saying?
Yes.
They have come back to where that means we have superior brains here. The knowledge is here on this TV. Those who have been shouting at us have now come back to us. They have come back to use our same thing of open dialogue. Lobby, sit down. You don't need to raise a temperature because Ruto has given you a handout. Come back on the table and talk. I like Senator Wetangula because they are mature people. Wetangula cannot say the people of Bungoma miss money. He will never be a governor even in his house. Yes, strike a compromise. Where money is needed, just equalize it. Equalization fund, let the government increase that equalization fund. But you cannot deny the people of Kiambu. You can't deny them the money to build their clinics because you need to keep a country equal. You are not God to keep the country equal. Higher. Look at the doctrine of creation of man. Why then did God take days? Why then did God take days to create another human being? If you have not gone to school to study divinity, don't speak. Study the study of divinity. You will understand the doctrine why God took 7 days and then created another human being. Why didn't he leave one human being to be the only master? Because he would have not equalized the world. Onyari cannot interpret this one more than I have done now. You are all Christians. God had to balance that Adam cannot stay alone. There must be somebody to help Adam. But then God did not give this person who came after 7 days in Genesis 1, 2, creation. Did not give the person the full powers. Why? 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 Had the woman Eve had the same powers with Adam, where would the world be? Tulikuwa tunapishana hata barabara, tuna cut it into 2 parts.
They were to complement each other.
Which is balance. Let's use the word balance. Balancing act.
Because for man to be happy, not that
the women don't have enough brains. No, some women are sharper than men. But God did not made it very clear that the creation came from one of the ribs. It doesn't make women inferior. It makes the women supplementary. They supplement the role and complement the role Adam was doing.
To make it complete.
Yeah. So let's complement the role that Isiolo is not doing by giving them an equalization fund so that they can build some small hotels around Isiolo airport. Because most of the airport is occupied on the runway by baboons and monkeys that come to take sunshine flight. Whereas Malindi, if we expanded Malindi, how many big flights from Italy would land there on a daily basis without going to Mombasa first, then drive to Malindi? Does it make sense? Yes. It makes sense to enlarge the airport in Mombasa, to take 2 runways. You will get more money in Mombasa, and the Mombasa will get the equalization fund, deliver it to you. Those are my 2 points. Let me come back to the real subject. Are we at Crossroads?
Doctor, before the real subject, Weston Hotel, did you hear the conversation we had about it?
I had.
Okay.
My phone went off when I reached there.
Mm-hmm. So the
maybe God did not want me to comment on it.
So you don't want me to bring it up. NLC is saying that Trudeau...
No, I can comment on it now.
That Trudeau should just compensate KCAA, and KCAA is saying, no, this land is ours. And on top of that, this hotel is built on a flight path, so it has the dangers of that, but also it's public land, and they have agreed that it was taken from the public. And we were just wondering, when you've taken public land, do you compensate for it or do you give it back?
Who is the Minister of Lands?
Is it Karune?
And who is Karune?
She used to work in a media house. That's the much I know.
What is her relationship with the DP?
I do not know.
That's what happened. This how that's it. Wache tusonge. Wache tusonge mbele.
Acha tuende kwa Crossroads basi hapo.
Yes, we are to Crossroads.
That's a live wire. Yes.
Yes, that's why there is need for President Uhuru Kenyatta 720 days now left. Your Excellency, you need a legacy. Some people are making decisions. It's good you give 14 days for them not to loot. Don't allow them to come back to loot. Final looting, like a decision of, you see that decision is a looting decision. They all come from Tarbo. So what did you expect? Hey, tuchunguze ukweli. Mnasaidia, tutakusaidia, unakataa hata to say thank you. So unataka mimi nikwambie hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah wapo. I'm also injured. Wasn't I injured? Didn't I lose a job? Was I here? Was I begging? Was I crying, shouting here? If I had not gone into that hall, Rule 68 would have passed. I have over 100 MPs that saw me beat up Gladwell Otieno in front of Wazungu. Why did I commit a crime for you? Then you are not appreciative. Kwenda. Mungu wangu atanisaidia. Yes. Today ndio hiyo. Today ndio hiyo. Kuna kupembeleshana hata kama hapana hapa hata huko, wherever I will be, walai, wherever I will be. Na kuambia haki ya Mungu. Huwezi kufanyia mtu hawezi kukuja kusema asante. Tena anaanza kukuvuruta. I was not one of those who drafted people to go to that place. I went to fight on Rule 68. I was there, used my money to fly there. And somebody does not even appreciate. Anatembea, wewe, mambo bado. Wachana na mimi. The world is at crossroads. The points that you raised are fantastic. Especially the points by Karen. One of the points Karen raised that I picked some bits and pieces. It has opened us. It has opened our brains. Antenna sasa zimefunguka. Kumbe we did not have beds. Kumbe we did not have masks. Kumbe we did not have everything. Now this COVID-19 has taught us one thing. It has now taught us accountability. We are going to take on some people. Professor, I saw your point on accountability. But boss, we sat here, medium, all of us. We warned about this fleecing. About April. Didn't we warn? We said it here on this television. That there's something wrong going on. But that one, the points that Karen made, very clear. Yes, were very, very clear points. That the EACC bring us the real final document. Miriam, tuko karibu tutasoma hiyo. By the end of this week, tutasoma watu majina. And here, we shall read it here. We are at crossroads because we cannot fly out and leave others. We are at crossroads because we are at the same level. The world is at crossroads because the poor, the rich, the fat, the big ones, the small ones, all of us are in one pot now. COVID-19 has brought us to crossroads. But what is the hope here? Where is the hope? The hope can only come when vaccine is on the shelves for buying. For now, we need to make it a point to continue with measures. I want to thank governments to continue with measures. I want to thank the government. Yesterday, they moved in to register border people. They should go further and give each border a local book. Local book. The passenger you carry. The Ugandan style. It makes tracing very possible. Take the ID of the passenger you are carrying. There is a phone. Don't tell me no border boy has a phone. Take a picture and leave there. That's what Ugandan borders are doing. Why? If there is any tracing, contact tracing, they will find you. If the border man is sick, you are also sick, the other one is sick, the other one is sick, they will bring you. That's how Uganda has fought this disease. 2, Miriam, the world has become smaller. The United States of America is fighting any other institution. There are forces, actually there are 4 forces in the world now. World Health Organization, George Soros and Microsoft man, what is his name? Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, George Soros, Rockefeller, Ford Foundation, those are on one side. The American government is on one side. Then lastly, Russia, China. There are actually 6 forces. Then now you have the moderate Europe, the civilized Europe that is watching. You want to come to their place, you follow their instructions. You want to export your food, you follow their instructions. Otherwise, your flowers and your food can rot in Naivasha or in Dar es Salaam. They warned you. They warned you much earlier. Senor, they warned you much earlier. They said, if you don't treat yourself properly, we shall put guidelines that will fail you. Nobody has stopped you from going to London. You can go. But 45 minutes within your flight, before the flight, because the London flight from Nairobi sits for about 3 hours on the ground, or 2 hours. Within 2 hours, they would have processed your paperwork to return. Or given you entry. 45 minutes, the test for COVID is documented. Akuna Mutahi Kagwe, Akuna that lady. What is that lady?
Dr.
I think she only displays her new clothes. What is her name?
Dr. Masi Mwagangi.
That one. Who reads essays to us. We are not children, students. Soma key to the akili. You're a doctor. How do you just read the essay? Hey, wait. No. People are not dying because of COVID. People are dying now because of depression. Am I wrong? Mutu ako na 10 children in the house. And you as the father, you take one step forward to go to the hospital. Each amount for testing is how much? How much?
1,000 something.
That's 10,000, which buys ugali for the whole month. Nobody told you that produce only 2 children like in China. Walikuambia hama until you hama yourself. So uko now. Do you go to hospital, Miriam? No. 10 children plus your wife, you are 12. That's why the government the Ministry of Health is telling us, we want to encourage you to go to hospital. Remove the money. Remove the fee. You will see how many people will be in the hospital.
Doctor, even Somalia, the test there is free. Why can't we do that? And yet we have the capacity.
My father told me. There's one thing my father told me before he was unceremoniously killed. You know, before I left him, 1985, he had told me something. Hello?
All right, very well. As we wait there for Doc to finish that.
Now, he had told me something. That never in your life, Miriam, go for free things. If you call me for a disco which is free, I will not come. But if you call me for a disco which is paying 10,000 entry, I will go. That's why I'm like this. Look at me. 64 years. Coming to 65 in 2 months, Miriam. You better prepare my cake. And this time I've warned you in advance.
I'm still waiting for mine from March, so.
No, don't say these things here publicly. Those things are coordinated quietly.
You brought it publicly, all right.
No, I gave to the general manager.
Oh, Steve ate my cake, all right.
Yes, Steve did not deliver the cake, is his problem.
All right, I'll deal with Steve, all right,
go ahead. Saying, 2 months from now, I will be 65.
Yes,
but
that is a blessing. Mm-hmm.
Look at me. Because I don't go for free things, I use my head, tools of analysis to earn a living. Neither will I go, my father told me, the worst thing is to go for a disco which is free. The worst thing is to quarrel with a barmaid. The worst thing is to quarrel with a taxi driver. The worst thing is to quarrel with a guard on the guard, quarter guard. The worst thing is to quarrel with a receptionist. Rule number one in external intelligence, you are told the first people that you must always have, because some of us studied these things in North Korea and Cuba, well-organized schools and Israel. Now, rule number one, Miriam, you befriend the receptionist at the hotel.
And the security guard.
No, I will tell you the order, how it is goes. The receptionist is the main man. The security guard will allow the cars to go in, but you want to know who you are. The receptionist is the figurehead who will supply the information to all departments. We have Mr. Kurune Pesonga here with his 3-piece. He's in the hotel. Then the barmaid, who is the first thing you do in a hotel. I think, Miriam, one of these days, what you do is bring ethics. The ethics. It's an ethics of how you behave. The first thing you do in a hotel, never pay your bill with signing to your room. Pay cash. Then walk away and leave the change for the lady or the man. So this man will go now. You know where he gets your information. Naona huyo mjamaa sijui yako kwa room gani. Then they do computer, they use this. That is Mudos. Ako kwa room namba gani. Sasa information inaanza namna hivyo. Unajua, don't surrender your signature on the first day. Because if you are being followed, the receptionist links with the signature, you are done. But if you find, I'm sorry, I'm teaching guerrilla tactics, but we shall have private session with Miriam. So, Miriam, my sister, wait first, my sister.
Yes.
In a nutshell, free things
Are dangerous.
Are very good. But the problem now for people to pay is also difficult. That's why Mutahi Kagwe must listen. People are not coming to hospital because there is 1,000 shillings, and that 1,000 shillings, if a man has 10 children, we've extended his sister, nephew, niece, who have arrived there here, there could be 20. That's 20,000 shillings, which takes him for 4 months. He cannot come to hospital. So the government should change strategy. Allow people to go for free testing. You will see the numbers we get. They have done very well. You know, they have followed. The Kenyan model is they have followed. They are narrowing. You see that? They are narrowing. If they do something about Kiambu and Nairobi, Kenya would have narrowed this disease and turned it into an endemic. It will no longer be a pandemic. It will be usual because our month of sunshine is about to come. Sindio, isn't it September, October?
It has started a bit.
Yes, hiyo kiti itaenda. There's a lot of watu wa kule. You see, this woman doctor, these doctors, that woman Mugagi. Haki ya Mungu. President, what is wrong? The woman comes without telling people what to eat. Be practical. Say carrots. Kula carrots. I am giving you people. You will see the immune. I swear. You will see how carrots can clean your lungs. Kula carrots, lemon, ginger, honey, boil them. Kunywa. Karen, kunywa from Mombasa. Gonga hiyo kitu ikuwe kwa isafishe uchafu. It is that uchafu that comes to linger around there. And it's okay. And after drinking that, go to the toilet and see the result.
Celery is the one that cleanses better if it's cleansing.
Which one?
The celery
I'm giving
juice.
you, ma'am.
But this one builds your immunity. What
I have given you, it cleans, builds immunity. Of course, immunity fails when there are things hanging in the lungs, isn't it? If the virus is getting something in the lungs, you have to clean it to go. Then you go to do susu. When you do susu, you smell that the badness is out there. Let's help people. It's a community TV. We must teach people what to do. And I'm very happy. Prof, you want to go? I'm also going. The world is at crossroads. And the politics has entered the world international bodies. It has made it very worse. That when China discovers the medicine, Russia says we have the best one. America says that is not the one. Africa remains dangling in the middle. That is the crossroad we are. Until we find our own homegrown solutions, which Karen brought a point there, I was listening. Homegrown solutions. Find our own, what our scientists here say. What are the scientists saying? Do they have anything? Miriam is smiling. Do they have anything?
Yeah, from
I didn't know that you had a problem with me on this cake issue. So today I'm going to surrender like 20 cakes. Because I've seen, Wesonga, you are my witness. Karen, you are my witness.
No, I cut down on cakes and sugar. So bad timing, but
you know, people can you know, humanity is very dangerous.
Doctor, you're giving us very good advice. Go ahead. Carrots and garlic and what else? Let's just go back.
Miriam,
I've cut down on cakes.
Let me send you, you only, you saturate, you and the Karen, and Wesonga needs it. And we need it. I am sending you the link, all of you in my office.
Okay.
In Nairobi.
Yeah.
And boss, Mama, that link, after it has cooled down, put in a big, you can even cook as much as you want.
Doctor, I drink that every night before I go to sleep. So yes, before I sleep.
There you are, Wesonga. There you are, Karen. There you are, Professor. I want to thank you, my people. God bless you. God bless you all the time. We see each other. Watch this up this evening. The editor's memo. Miriam choose for me the topic and surrender it to me.
Wait, okay.
choose the topic. You are the one who has been. Usually I pick from one of the hot topics. You choose around all what has happened. What do we touch? Is it the corruption? Is it Malala's behavior of refusing to go to a police cell? What is it? Revenue authority allocation yesterday, we damaged it. And these guys are calling me. They called and said, can you send that thing again? No, that is good. That's good, my daughter. My daughters and my good brothers, thank you very much. This is Dr. David Matanga, right from the Political Command Center of Punchline Africa Television, miles away from Miriam Birthday Girl of April. God bless. I have now seen why I've been hated.
Doctor, I'm heading to the next birthday. We can carry forward.
That is even very bad, Professor Nyani.
It's a double cake.
I feel so bad. It is Stephen who let me down. But I will pay our revenge. You know, Idi Amin told the Queen that when you come to Uganda, I will revenge. The British Empire activated the nuclear weapon. So I will revenge Miriam. Thank you. Thank you, my daughter.
All right, thank you so much. The rest of the conversation, I think we'll carry it to tomorrow as we were looking at the world at Crossroads, but also a lot of diplomatic ties have been tested, Doctor. There are countries and all that. So
this man here now, this man called Jack, you know, this is Ruto man called Jack. He's asking me a very serious question. Miriam, can you read it up?
Which one? Which Jack?
John Clark.
Oh, he's called Jack or John Clark? John Clark is saying, Doctor, before you go, let us know if you have agreed on being a running mate of Bobby Wine.
Me?
Well, you share the same color, so.
Now, just spare me. Unyali don't leave. Just 2-3 minutes. Mr. John Clark, I left Uganda on 27th of July, Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning, after my government had been overthrown. Via Busia up to Buhungu Stadium with my president. Before that, we had been fighting an insurgence that had been planted as a result of bad elections. Museveni had gone to the bush. He weakened our government. We were overthrown by our own generals, our own friends we fought with in Tanzania. They gave us hours to leave the country. On radio calls of this nature, they said, over, get out. Don't stay there because we don't want to fight you. You are our comrades. We have overthrown the government. We are coming to take over Kampala. I don't know how old you were or how old the deputy president was, but I was already old serving a government. Since 1985, political parties were banned. They were banned. I worked hard, returned the political parties. This same voice, records are there in the BBC. You can check. Bob Wine is my younger son. Actually, his son number in my family, my stomach. This one here. and the body. Because all my children, I produce them. I'm an African guy. And all my children have marks. If you don't have that mark, you can't be my child. Sorry.
And from the mother side?
No, it's mine.
Professor.
All of them. Special. So Bob Wine is child number 5 in my family. Bob Wine can compete with my Paddy or Ephraim. One of those. For me, I've done my bit for Uganda. I silenced a war, stopped a war, brought peace, returned my people, the Luo community, to livelihood and dignity. I'm very proud man that today they can die of poverty, but they don't die of a gun. That is politics of Uganda is below me. Below me, kabisa chini. I'm above. I'm an international icon.
An Africanist.
If you go to any international organization and put the name Dr. David Matsange, they will not ask who. They say, that Shuji guy. That man, Shuji. ICC, ICJ, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, they all fear me. Because I tell them the truth. So Johnny Clark, look at this giant here. Why should I deputize Bob Wine? Bob Wine should deputize me to learn how a government can run. Because I have more tools of analysis of handling a government than Bob Wine singing songs.
And that's why he needs you.
He can be my running mate. But this guy is telling me I should be his running mate. It's a difference, Miriam. I've not refused. He's a younger man. They call a younger man who wants advice. He calls me. The other time I talked to one of them, you saw things stabilized.
You could be in his kitchen cabinet, no?
I can even be his teacher actually in the cabinet. But now I cannot be. I've left the Uganda politics for Ugandans. Miriam, I serve international community. I'm happy that way because there's no politics, there's no election there. It's a lie. You cannot hold a scientific election without scientific equipment. No test tubes, no chlorine, no chlorophyll, no acidic, what is it called, sulfuric acid. All those things are lacking.
The reagents, they don't have the structures to ensure that they have a proper scientific election.
So,
even in normal election.
I cannot help to maim Ugandans. The best thing is for you and me to watch
and talk about it. I don't mind. I don't mind talking about it from here because I think that election is just a scam.
It is,
whether scientific or otherwise. Yes.
So thank you very much, Madam Cake, and I think
I don't do cakes anymore. I bake. I don't even eat them myself. I've stopped for a few months now. Thank you so much, Doctor, for that. And thank you so much. You asked where
I've seen
you've asked where the DP was when you were in government. Perhaps he was still trying to get his first shoes from Mr. Onyango. Thank you so much, Professor Onyari. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Karen. Let's just
Karen,
go for lunch
thank you
now.
very much, all of you. Bye. Thank you. Let me run for another engagement.
All right. We'll see you later. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks.
must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.